The other problem is it's a math problem. There's like 30 or 40 people who will only vote for Kevin. So even if they bring another candidate forward, you'll have the Freedom Caucus candidate, and you'll have whoever the person named to be would be. And by the way, both Scalise and Jordan have said they don't want the job. And then you will also have Kevin McCarthy that will also get at least 30 or 40 of the only Kevin caucus. Right, so now you end up with a 4-horse race instead of a 3-horse race, and it's a simple math problem. You still got to get to 218. So unless
Yeah, it's a math problem. It's also a mess on Capitol Hill right now. Republican Congressman Mike Garcia, earlier on in the show, lawmakers are going to reconvene in about 20 minutes. And it would appear as though Republicans are no closer to finding a speaker on the 6th ballot. With that, we bring in our panel, NewsNation politics editor Chris Stirewalt, Lauren Wright, associate research scholar at Princeton University. Good to see you both. Chris, start with you. The argument against Kevin McCarthy is that he's a bit of a squish. He's more interested in political power than really a strong conservative agenda. Is that fair or just a false purity test?
That is not the argument against McCarthy that I am familiar with. The argument against McCarthy from the 20 who voted against him is basically that he is liar is too strong. Kevin McCarthy will say or do anything to have this job. He has demonstrated. It's funny in the ways in which he has proven the case of his detractors in courting their support, right? No, we're not going to vacate the chair. We're not going to vacate the chair. Well, what if I said 5? And you can just see how that goes. So I think he's a victim of his own ambition.
So like a squish, for lack of a better word. He cares more about himself.
No, my point is there's not an ideological overlay here, right?
Oh, okay.
This isn't about more conservative or less conservative. This is personalities. This is messaging. This is a gavel measuring contest. This isn't about who's more conservative.
Lauren, boy, there's nothing that the rest of the world likes other than perhaps the 20 Republicans who are holding out, more than watching Republicans fight amongst themselves. Has the donor base gotten to the point where they're really fed up yet?
Well, look, this is perhaps one of the only jobs in the world where the application process precisely matches the job you have to do. And McCarthy is demonstrating, at least so far, he does not deserve the job, but he still has some tools in the toolkit. And if he keeps appeasing these 20 Republicans, as he's been doing with at least some of them for months now, and they keep moving the yardstick, he's going to end up in these rounds. And so he must have to switch strategies. And I don't know if he's had time in the last hour or so, but it's probably time for some sticks and not so many carrots.
It's an interesting concept of whether he can actually have any sticks really to wield, because Nancy Pelosi had the same size majority that she was dealing with and was able to use the sticks pretty effectively. Chris, to you, a big Republican donor got this text from a McCarthy insider and staffer. Continuation of the clown show for another day or two. If 5 Republicans support a Trump nomination, every Dem will vote for it. Scary. When you're calling people names and counting on Republicans' fear of Trump, isn't that a bad sign?
Well, I mean, look, as we saw today, Donald Trump does not carry the kind of weight inside the Republican Party that he did even 6 months ago. Donald Trump reiterated his endorsement for Kevin McCarthy, and nothing happened. And that's significant. That tells us something about where the Freedom Caucus is. But let's be clear. This doesn't end with a 5-way vote. It doesn't end with something else. It ends with the old bulls in the Republican conference telling Kevin McCarthy it's time to go home. And if that number goes from 20 to 30, they will. And it won't be because they prefer somebody else. It'll be because they know that McCarthy can't get there. And that's when they'll tap Steve Scalise or Elise Stefanik and say, it's time for you to run. And they will try to conclude this in fast fashion. But this doesn't go to a 5-way vote, and it doesn't go to the Democrats, and it doesn't go to a plurality. The Republican Party will still, I believe, act in its own self-interest.
Well, the one thing you can normally count on politicians to do, right, is act in their own self-interest. That's normally what they're doing. That's why people hate politicians, Lauren. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.